All right, in this video, we're going to go over the $1 Million Brand Playbook for 2Js, which is a large brand that sells clothing, jewelry, and I've been seeing them a lot. If you haven't seen my $1 Million Brand Playbook videos, this is essentially where I take brands that are doing well and I break down the things that are going on in their brand that you can, take and use in your brand for yourself. So let's break this down. I'm going to show you their marketing. I'm going to show you the acquisition funnel, and I'm going to explain to you how you can implement that into your brand. Now, if you haven't yet, subscribe for more, because every week I basically just give you all of the tips and strategies that I know on how to build your brand to millions per year, get your Shopify silver bag, and we even landed on Inc. 5000 because we scaled so fast. So go ahead and do that. If you hear stuff going on in the background, it's just my girlfriend cooking. She's making gumbo. So the first thing that I go over with the $1 Million Brand Playbook is their brand content, because that's the first thing that a brand is, essentially. That's like judging the book by its cover, right? And so we want to make sure that we're starting with that, because it's the bread and butter of how you're getting people to your brand. Now, what's really interesting about 2Js is that they decided to go after like two niches in a sense. And I think every brand should have a focus on light content that isn't necessarily always selling their product. And they do that really well. They have 3-to-1 ratio of just good branded content to actually selling content. You can see they go after music a lot. There's a lot of content. They even have Billie Eilish wearing one of their hats, but they have a lot of content that is centered around music, and they've really made a name for themselves in music. And so if you can find a way to essentially brand your clothing as a part of a niche, kind of how this one has here, that's very, very useful. And the way that you can do that, you don't have to go for huge people like this. This brand is really big. It has 614,000 on Instagram. And so you don't have to go after someone like Billie Eilish. You can go after micro influencers and brand down that way, and do collab posts, do partnership ads, do that type of stuff to embed yourself in a community without having to land someone really huge like that. And then they also focus on recreation. So they kind of have like a mix of music and recreation, and that's kind of their sub niche that they've decided to go after for the most part. They have people doing recreational sports. They have people drifting around in sand. They have people boating. They have, this thing is actually people skating. There's actually a mix of the music in there too. They have speakers that are like the side of the ramp, which is kind of cool. And so they really carved out this rebellious, artistic kind of niche that speaks to a lot of people. There are a lot of people who love music and they love skateboarding. They love music and they love maybe these types of cars or old cars, or they like snowmobiling, biking, those types of things, right? And so I like this level of branding. If you were to visit their page, you'll see what I'm talking about, where most of their content is actually just aimed towards creating the vibe and creating the aesthetic of the brand. Then instead of just like saying we dropped clothing or we dropped jewelry, here it is, they essentially go into how it's made, and they really show the background of like the product being made. And that's what they focus on the most when it comes to their sales like content. Really the only sales content you see, like what the traditional, like what most people think of a clothing brand doing, they really only do that in ads. They don't do it so much on their actual like Instagram page, but that's kind of the cadence that they have. It's like a 3-to-1 posting cadence when it comes to branded niche content and then selling content, which I think is a really good cadence. And that's something that you should be copying for your brand. Now, I'm going to actually get into the conversion funnel that they use. But before I do that, if you want to work with me to actually build this type of stuff out for your brand, you can click the link that's in the description, and you'll be able to work with me either through my free bootcamp or my 30-day mentorship program. So go ahead and do that. Now, the next thing is we're going to get into their conversion funnel. So I break down how they're getting new people to their website and then how they're converting people through the website. Past that is like their emails and all their community and all that type of stuff. That's for different videos. I have tactics that I go through on that. But this right here is what's usually the unique part for brands. And so I'm going to go over that. So what they start with is they actually have a lot of engagement ads, and they obviously send people straight to their Instagram by doing that. And so they have a top of funnel stuff where it just shows like the creation of the product, and then some of the like product carousels and things like that. Now, if I were to critique them a little bit, I would say add in some of that branded content, that niche content that kind of builds the vibe for your brand. But of course, they have a lot of it on their Instagram, basically using that as like a landing page. Then beyond that, they do sales objective ads where they obviously send people straight to either product pages or collection pages or whatever, right? And so those are actually mostly static, I've found, just by looking at their ads library. They have mostly static ads, some carousels. They actually run the same video as well as a sales ad. But it seems like they have at least 2 campaigns, one of them being engagement objective ads and the other one being sales objective. Sales objective obviously goes straight to their website, while Instagram in this case is what leads people to their website. But the ultimate goal, obviously, for every brand is to be led to the website, or if you're on TikTok, your TikTok shop, sometimes Instagram shop. But that's where we're going to kind of break down exactly what their website is like. And this website is one of the best. This is why I decided to talk about 2Js, is actually mainly because their website hits all of the keys, at least for me. You know, I've tested landing pages. We have millions of visitors for my brand, and I've tested landing pages and product pages probably the most out of anything. And this product page right here, I can tell is very well converting, especially because they already have a cult following around their brand. And when you add that with how simple and straightforward and psychology driven that this product page is, I know that they're probably converting like crazy. So the first thing that you land on is this clear and very concise first fold. And what I mean by first fold is like before you scroll. So like this is what shows before you scroll. And there's literally nothing to do but add to cart. And that's what I try and get across to like all of these brand owners that want to complicate what the product page is. It literally just needs to get people to add to cart. And this is all that this does above the fold. And most people don't scroll. Like 60% of people don't even scroll when they land on a page. So if you don't give them the option to add to cart before, you're not even going to get 60% of those people to scroll, unless there's like some weird event where more people are scrolling because maybe the product is hype or something. I don't know. But most people just landing on your site, they're not going to scroll. And so with this, they literally just give you the option to add to cart. And that's it. It's just very clear product photography and the add to cart, which actually floats as you scroll until you actually get to the add to cart button that's on the page. And so I love this right here. It's so minimal. It fits their branding. Obviously, if this doesn't fit your branding, then don't do it in this way, but you should always have the add to cart button above the fold. That's the main thing that I always tell people. And the main thing that we try to achieve with our brand. My brand's sometimes a little different, depends on the product, but we always try and get that add to cart button above the fold. Now, the best thing that they do is they have these on their product pages. They have this amazing buy box. The buy box is essentially just where you have your add to cart button and all of the information around it. This buy box is really good. It's just so clean. They give you all of the information that you need in order to make that buying decision, but they don't put like a shit ton of information unless you ask for it. So unless you click the see details. I think that they could probably get away with not even putting the title here, maybe putting it like down below, and even the price as well down below, so that you can, get this to be a little higher. But they have that floating add to cart, so it doesn't really matter that much. And then from here, they also just below that have these product details, which shows more of like the fit and just like more information for anyone who just absolutely needs to know more for some reason. There's this right here, just like a little bit of a story around it and just details about the hoodie itself. And another touch point for the add to cart button. So I guess the only thing I would do here is like not put the same product photo as above. I would just put like fits, maybe even put like the lookbook here so that people can see what it looks like with different clothing. But me giving this brand critiques is just like nitpicking because it looks so good. So from there, This is actually the most optimized cart I've seen in a long time. You notice it's not a cart page. It just flips up when you click add to cart. Like you select your size, click add to cart, and then it just pulls up. Now here, there's some really big things that I always try and tell people to do, which is you have an AOV driver. I call it an AOV driver, which is basically just a progress bar that shows progress towards some sort of their discount or free shipping or something like that when you spend a certain amount. So I don't know what the amount was here, but I added $200 worth of stuff and I automatically had free shipping. And so that progress bar would go up as you're adding stuff to get to that free shipping. So it pushes people to strategize purchasing from the brand. And that's very, very important. I think every brand should have this. And then they also have upsells. So if you don't hit this AOV driver, you can add product without having to leave the cart. When you get someone across the line to every step towards making a purchase, you don't want them to go back. And so if you can keep them in your cart to shop from that point, that's so much better than like you tell them you're this amount away from free shipping and then they have to like leave the cart to go add more. You always want to try and pair these two together so that they can just start swiping through, because this just swipes like endlessly. You can just add stuff to cart from there. And that's amazing. From there, obviously, you just check out like the normal Shopify checkout. But this right here is a really good example of an acquisition funnel or conversion funnel that I think is just like super solid. Like really what I think every brand should do, just baseline. And they just do it so well. And that's one of the reasons why they're winning. So that's the $1 Million Brand Playbook breakdown for 2Js. If you want me to help you do this with your brand, and actually like work through it with you, you can join my 30-day mentorship program. That's where you literally get access directly to me one-on-one, where we'll be able to literally break all this down for your brand and build it for your brand. Now, if you haven't yet, subscribe. Keep a lookout for more content like this. I'm going to be doing this as a series, and this is just the first episode. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in other videos.